Fellow Ugandans, wherever you're watching or listening from, those in the villages, those in towns and cities, and those in the diaspora, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today, I would like to talk to you about the state of our nation and how it is affecting all of us, most especially the ordinary people. On behalf of the leadership of the National Unity Platform, I salute you, ladies and gentlemen, all of you, our people, who have trusted us to speak and act on your behalf on public policy matters. Our population is estimated to be about 42 million people and is growing at an average of 3% every year. Uganda's population is expanding much faster than most countries at Uganda's development level. So I'm speaking to you, ladies and gentlemen, at a time when our fast-growing population is facing fast-rising prices of almost everything, with clearly no hope of any kind of relief from the state. I am aware, ladies and gentlemen, of the lost hope and of the shattered livelihoods which is caused by the high cost of living. 2022 is probably the worst year for salary earners and for farmers whose produce must be transported by trucks running on diesel. Transport for the people, especially public means, is slowing down as the transport costs are rising. At the same time, the presidency, which is State House and President's Office, have already spent 971 billion, almost a trillion shillings. Yes, 971 billion shillings. Now, about the rising cost of living. On the 22nd of May, General Museveni addressed the nation about the rising cost of living. He, however, did not offer any kind of relief or solution to the citizens, but instead, he advised Ugandans to tighten their seatbelts. Well, on his part, he continues to spend public money as if he's not aware that the country is suffering a price shock. Between November 2021 and April 2022, prices of household commodities increased to levels which are way beyond the reach of the ordinary citizens. This information is on the Uganda Bureau of Statistics website, the UBOS website, and it's available for all of you to see. Therefore, fellow Ugandans, for us to arrest this situation, government must go back to the fuel market. And yes, government must do the following things. Number one, government must impose control on stocking levels and pricing decisions. I mean, no responsible government continues to just cry and lament on forces of demand and supply when the Petroleum Supplies Act allows the government to do something. We think government, through the Commissioner of Petroleum Supplies, which is actually the legal licensing authority, should split the average cost of every liter of fuel into 3 categories and go ahead to publicize them for the consumer and ordinary person to understand and appreciate the changes that are happening. First, the unit cost of delivering a liter of fuel from wherever it's coming from to the borders of Uganda. Secondly, the tax per unit. And third, the margin of profit per unit. Now, every liter of fuel, whether petrol or diesel, has a unit cost. A cost of bringing it to the border. It could be Malaba, it could be Busia or Mutukula. For example, a liter is brought from the refineries in the Middle East up to Busia at a cost of, for example, 2,800 shillings. And this is the first level of costing. Now, the second level is tax. So you add the tax on that 2,800, which, is brought on our borders. The third category is the profit margin. Now, this is where everything goes wrong. The fuel companies are setting a higher profit margin, while the consumer has generally accepted to be exploited. The companies are setting whatever prices they want, while the regulator is quiet. This is not a mistake, ladies and gentlemen, because the same people who are supposed to regulate are actually the same people in the fuel business. So they cannot regulate themselves. They also do not break down and publicize all these details in transparency for you, the common person, to understand, because they want to exploit you in ignorance. Number two, we think the government must abolish fuel marking, because this is a useless exercise which was only useful in the years before customs computerized cargo tracking. But today, it only holds and delays trucks at the border for nothing. And number three, and most urgent and important of all, is government must suspend taxes on crude vegetable oil and wheat. This will help to reduce the prices of essential items like chapati. The ghetto people in our cities, in the towns and the trading centers largely survive mainly on chapati, which also makes chikomando and makes Rolex. And this policy decision is very urgent and indeed long overdue. Let's forget about this business of Museveni coming to tell us to eat cassava if we can't afford bread. Cassava or cassava flour cannot make chapati. It cannot make chikomando, therefore it cannot make Rolex. But that goes ahead to just show how disconnected Museveni is from the people. Now you're going to ask me, how do we deal with the revenue lost by removing tax from vegetable oil and wheat? My answer is simple. Cut the classified expenditure in order to accommodate the revenue loss created by a tax exemption on the cooking oil and wheat. Simple. Icho chiba chiteredde.